Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my dear beloved brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode on Stories of Kings. Kings were usually known because they want to prepare their children to be kings after them, that they were known to invest in their education. They'd usually have wise people around them. They would have them next to warriors. They'll take them onto trips. They will take them into journeys. So there was a king that was looking to grow his kingdom. So what did he do? With his son that he was preparing to be a king after him, is he got a sailor, he had a ship ready, and other people along with them, and he said, "You're going to take my son on a 1 year journey. Take him, let him discover the world, the continents, the countries, to know about cultures, because as we grow our territories and our kingdom, I need him to be able to communicate with people. In some cases, he might need to fight. In some cases, he might need to come in peace. But we're going to grow. So I need a son that's very well rounded about the world." So he prepared a ship with a sailor and other people in there to help, and the food and the drink that they would need for 1 year. And he sent his son off in that ship. So the prince is in the ship, and they're going for days. The first day, the second day, it's beautiful. Everybody's happy. They're going for 8 days, 9 days. And then on the ninth day on the ship, suddenly comes a very powerful storm and like a hurricane and winds. And it just, I mean, the ship is just going from side to side until finally it's a shipwreck, and it destroys, and everything changes and everybody dies off except for this prince, the only survivor in the ship, that one person. And he just clinches, and it's going on a piece of wood that takes him to an island. And suddenly he's just happy to be on the island, and the hurricane is just ending. And to his surprise, something very strange happened. As they pull him into the island, there's hundreds of people in the island all standing by him, all clapping and singing and praising him and saying, "Welcome to our island. You are our king for the year." And he's shocked. He's looking at them like, "Who are those people? I just got off a shipwreck. This is a random island that I end up in. And there's hundreds of people, and they're and those people were just singing and dancing and, hitting their drums and, just celebrating him." Not only that, but he said, "For the next year, for the entire next year, you are our king." Wow, what a surprise. He's happy. He's been saved. He walks in with them. Everybody's happy. Everybody's celebrating. They take him to the palace. They place him in the palace, and he's the king. They put the crown on his head, and they said, "You are the king for 1 year." He said, "How come 1 year?" He said, "Here's what the deal is. Each year, we go to the side of the island, and we find someone, we rescue that person, we make him the king for 1 year." He says, "Okay, so what happens after 1 year?" He said, "After 1 year," that's what they told him, "is we take that person, kick him off our island. He's no longer our king, and we send him off to another island. There's another island where there is nothing, and we just kick him off and throw him over into that island." He said, "Wait up, wait up, wait up. For 1 year, I'm your king, and I can have whatever I want. And after that, you're going to take my crown and everything that I have and just throw me off into that other island with nothing?" They said, "Yes, that's what we do." And the man was just worried. It's like, wow, well, it's going to be a very good, fun year because I can ask for whatever I want and I have it. I'm the king. But after that, I'm just going to be thrown off board into this and nothing. And oh my God, what am I going to do? How is this going to work out? And then he looked and he found next to him in his throne was a very wise, nice, beautiful, handsome looking man, an old man that looked so wise. And he said, "Who's that man?" Because the man was very quiet. They said, "That is the wisest man that lives here. This man doesn't speak unless you speak to him. If you ask him, he will give you all the wisdom in the world, but he will not speak unless you ask him first." And sure enough, that man was just sitting there quiet. So the boy, this little prince who is now a king, looks at the wise man and says, "Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Sure, my son, any question." He said, "Well, you heard the good news and the bad news. The good news is for the next year, I am the king. I can have whatever I want." He said, "But After 1 year, they're going to take everything off from me, throw me off the island, and throw me into that island where there is nothing. I'm just going to die in that island. So, what do you suggest I do, Mr. Wise Man? The wise man looked at him and said, my son, here's my advice to you. My advice is, since you're the king and you can ask them to do whatever you want, ask them for the greatest wealth that you can have and for it to be shifted to the island. He said, say that again. He said, well, ask them to build you a palace in the island, the other island. Ask them to build you garden, grow gardens and all the beautiful fruits and food in the island. Ask them to put gold and money and luxuries in that island. Ask them to choose the girl of your dream that you want to marry in that island. Everything that you wish for, all the food, the drink, the cattle, the herds, the beautiful, gardens and palaces and whatever you need, horses, everything that you need. Tell them to send it day after day into that island. You're the king. You can ask for whatever you want. And that boy was like, wow, they were not joking when they said, you're the wise one, you're the genius. I love that idea. So for the whole year, he wakes up in the morning and says, I need two things. I need food for me right now, and I need you to go and farm in that island. They say, yes, king. And they started to farm. I want you to build me a bigger palace and also build me a much bigger palace in the island. And they're like, sure, king. And they go build a beautiful palace for him in the island. I want beautiful horses. And the best horses, I want them shift off into that island where I'm going to live for the rest of my life. And they did that. After 1 year, they came crying and they said, this is the saddest day. And he was laughing. He's like, you guys have no idea. This is the happiest day of my life. So they said, after 1 day, we're sorry, we're going to take take you off the throne and now we're going to take you over and ship you off and to that island. And people are crying because they're sending him off and shipping him off. But he was so happy because he knew how much luxury awaited him in the island. So what's the moral of this story? The moral of this story is how we come into this world. We live in the belly of our moms. He was in the waves for 9 days. We're in the belly of our moms for 9 months. Then comes that moment of us stumbling and tumbling, which is the hurricane or the waves that hit him. And that's when we get out and we don't know where we are, leaving the placenta, leaving the belly and the womb where we're comfortable for 9 months. Food and drinks are coming to us. We don't have to struggle for nothing. And now we're coming into this new world. What happened? We got off the island. Everybody was welcoming him. Everybody was happy. He's shocked. He's like, who are those people? I don't know him. When we come into this world as a baby, people are celebrating and happy and slaughtering lambs for us and aqiqah and stuff. And we're sitting there like, I don't know who you are. That's why when we come, the first thing we do is we start crying. Babies are just crying because we don't know who you are. Well, then we're put on the throne. We'll become the kings and everybody's celebrating us. But there's one wise person next to us. Who's that one wise person that doesn't speak to us unless we speak to that wise person? That is the word of Allah, the Quran. The Quran, Allah says, is guidance. The Quran is wisdom. The Quran is the plan for our lives. It's the happiness in this world and the hereafter. When you speak to the Quran, it tells you how to build here and be happy here in this world, but also وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ min al-akhirah. Do not forget that there's a day of judgment and that there's a Jannah. So also build here, have your house, have your career, have your job, have your business, have your education, get married, have children, have your masjid and expand your masjid and pray and do all those beautiful things here, but also invest in your akhirah, in your Jannah. Make sure that you have a palace built for you. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever prays 12 rak'ahs a day, for example, if you pray 2 rak'ahs before Fajr and 4 rak'ahs before Dhuhr and 2 rak'ahs after Dhuhr and 2 rak'ahs after Maghrib and 2 rak'ahs after Isha, every day, 12 rak'ahs total every day. For every day you pray, you have a palace that's built for you in Jannah. Allahu Akbar. When you say Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la illallah, wallahu Akbar, trees that are so beautiful are built for you in the Jannah. And imagine how many times you can say it and how many beautiful farms are going to be there. And so invest. The Quran teaches us to be happy in this world and ask them and make sure you build here. But also don't forget to build and invest in your akhirah, that you have the palaces in the Jannah. Then comes the moment of death. The moment of death is when we're leaving all that we have here. What happens to people that love us? Is they're so sad. They're so heartbroken as they're shipping us off and taking us to our grave. But the moment that you're passing away and the last word that you say is La ilaha illallah, with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I bear witness there's only one God and Muhammad's prophet and messenger, then a gate opens for you to sow the rewards and the Jannah and the blessings of all of those good deeds that you have done. You've helped this homeless person. You've donated to this masjid. You've helped this cause. You've helped that orphan. You educated yourself. You educated others. You worked for your family and you prayed and you fasted and you honored your parents and you helped your neighbors and you were a good patriot. You helped and voted and served your community and served your country. Allahu Akbar. How much beautiful reward is there for you, my brother and sister. So that's the moral of the story. I hope that you enjoyed it.